What's up, guys? Let's talk about the Poco X3 Pro for going into 2023. This is a mid-range phone that I always have on me simply because of the IR blaster. It's just a feature that pretty much only Xiaomi does, I think, nowadays. Samsung doesn't do it, LG doesn't do it, Apple doesn't do it. The IR blaster is something that I always have to control monitors and TVs around my house. You can control pretty much, appliances and stuff like that as well too. With this phone, so it's something that I absolutely love. It's the reason why I just keep it around. And this phone got the Android 13 update, and not Android 13 but the MIUI 13 update, and it's running Android 12. It's supposed to get the Android 13 update as well too. And yeah, this phone has been pretty impressive since the day I got it. The reason why I wanted to cover it again is because I know this phone is very easily accessible overseas as well. It's just a pretty good buy. I've always liked this phone. Now, let's go ahead and start off with, I think the most interesting thing about this phone is the CPU on here. So it does have a Snapdragon 860 processor here, and it has micro SD card support. It also has 128 gigs of internal storage and 6 gigs of RAM here. It does a pretty good job with performance as far as gaming performance goes. This is a very, very good phone for gaming since it's $200 phone pretty much on eBay. I'll drop that link down below. But it's 200 bucks and it's a really, really good performer when it comes to playing games. I'm able to play PUBG at really good settings, HDR Extreme. You also are able to play Call of Duty Mobile at very high frame rates. It does a really good job at gaming without getting super hot and stuff like that. And overall general performance with this phone, with the Android 12 update, it has been a little bit snappier. A lot of people don't like the MIUI skin, which I could totally understand because it could be a little bit buggy from time to time. But with every update they do, it seems to get a little bit smoother, not as choppy as it used to be. And I think the ads is probably one thing that turned people off. I'm assuming that's how they save money, but if you can get over that, the MIUI 13 skin is really not that bad. It actually has a lot of cool stuff and does a lot of things right that I really like as well too, as far as the software experience goes. We want to talk about the display on here. So it is an IPS 120 Hertz display at 6.67 inches. And it is 450 nits peak brightness, and it's 1080p. It has 395 for the PPI. The display itself is fine. No, it's not an OLED or an AMOLED display, but the display is fine, I think, for the average person. We got our punch hole. Like I said, it's fairly sharp with that PPI size. And yeah, a little bit of bezel, stuff like that. But honestly, the screen on here is perfectly fine. I don't have any issues with it. It could be a little bit brighter for like direct sunlight when you're outdoors, but other than that, inside it's colorful. It has good angles as well too. It's not washing out. It's a high quality panel for an IPS panel. So again, no issues. And the 120 Hertz on here is pretty buttery smooth. It just works. So very smooth panel. So like I said, yeah, could you get a better screen? Could you get an older flagship with a better screen? Yes. But like I said, the screen on here is fine. It's sharp. It's 120 Hertz. And I think most people won't have an issue with it. One things they do on the Poco phones a lot is they put the fingerprint scanner on the side, which is something that I absolutely love. I think this is the best implementation. It feels extremely natural when you take your phone out of your pocket and you just place your thumb right there. It just feels natural. You don't really think about unlocking the phone, which is something that I really like with that method. Talking about the additional features, like I said, micro SD card support is here. The physical fingerprint scanner, like I said, is really great. You can take advantage of face unlock as well too. It has NFC, it has the IR blaster, which is something that I absolutely love. And this phone does have IP53 dust and splash proof, but it's not really like, there's no IP68 or 67, so it's not really waterproof. You will break it if you like get it really wet. This phone does have a headphone jack as well too, and it's pretty much an all plastic build, so it doesn't feel super premium. Like I said, it has a good weight to it, but it just doesn't feel necessarily premium. Let me get a wipe down for you guys. The design on me, honestly, I was never like a huge fan of the design when it first came out. But like I said, some people like it, some people don't. I've always been sort of like a mixed bag. It doesn't look terrible. I do like this part of the design. But as far as the feel of the phone, you know, it just feels kind of like plasticky. But like I said, headphone jack, it's got a lot of good stuff going for it. Stereo speakers, which I think sound pretty good. So I think they sound pretty good. Again, you know, it's not like distorting at the max volume. Pretty good bass quality, so no issues there. Let's talk about the photo quality on here. So the Poco does have a 48 megapixel standard, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, a 2 megapixel macro, and a 2 megapixel depth. It shoots in 4K 30, and then a 20 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 1080p 30. Image quality on this phone is pretty much okay. It's not bad by any means in good lighting. It's one of those cases where if you take it out of good lighting, put it in sort of a lower light, it starts to get pretty soft. But I actually like how the shots come out on this phone when you're in good lighting. Very vibrant, very nice colors, pretty decent dynamic range. I mean, it takes pretty much like, you know, mid-range quality shots that you would expect pretty much. So I don't really have an issue. There's tons of detail, good color. You know, the ultra wide is pretty close to the main lens. I don't think anybody will have a problem with this camera for your outdoors and you need to, you know, take a quick picture. Video quality is also just pretty decent on here. The cameras, like I said, nothing really special. They do a good job, you know, pretty much. I give it like, you know, a B-. So overall, like, I think the image quality is pretty decent. It's pretty much on par with what you would expect from a mid-ranger. Here's the video on the Poco X3 Pro. Sure, let me know what you guys think. Sure to listen to the mic. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the battery life. This is where this phone actually does a very good job. So this phone will easily get a day's battery life. It has a 5,160 milliamp battery on here. You also have pretty fast charging speeds at 33 watts, but this phone does not have any type of wireless charging. Again, you know, being a mid-ranger, so you know, I can't really dock it for that. Honestly, but battery life is pretty good on here. I've never had this phone die on me within a day, so you can pretty much do some gaming, web browsing, social media, all the good stuff, and you'll still have battery life left on this device here. I also get questions about, does this work in the USA? I've tried it. It works on GSM networks, so like AT&T, T-Mobile, stuff like that. I don't think this phone is compatible with Verizon, stuff like that. But yeah, so that's basically what I've tried it on. So yeah, I really like this phone. I know it's very popular overseas, and I have a lot of people that watch from overseas, so I definitely like this phone for it. $200. Good gaming performance, IR blaster, pretty decent screen, headphone jack, pretty decent speakers, and like I said, it's very cheap. You could probably find it a little bit cheaper than $200, and that's $200 new, by the way. So what do you guys think of the Poco X3 Pro? And I'll catch you guys in the next one.